Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining in. Welcome back to Wall Street Silver. Our guest today is Dan Stewart, the president of Juggernaut Exploration. Welcome back, sir.
Welcome. Thanks for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks.
it's always a pleasure having you on Wall Street Silver. You were on here a few weeks ago, with Roger Rosmus, and I wanted to bring you back on to talk about everything happening in the silver and gold markets. First, we'll start off with, what are the key factors, Dan, that drive the prices of silver and gold in this current economic landscape, in your opinion?
Okay, great question. A little bit silver and gold, a tad bit different, but first we'll look at them from a monetary standpoint, somewhat of a central bank standpoint, a true store of wealth standpoint. So, physical gold, it is a true store of wealth. You could buy a Roman toga, back in the Colosseum days for 1 ounce of gold. You could do the same thing in the 1920s. You could walk into a fine tailor and get an excellent suit and walk out the door, and you can do the same thing today. It's an ounce of gold is about $3,400 Canadian right now, and you can walk out with a great tailored suit. So a great store of wealth. And silver has always kept pace with gold,
Right.
providing that same store of wealth for silver, and much easier to exchange on, using as coins and whatnot. Not as heavy to carry around as big bricks of gold. So
Right.
silver has been, in my opinion, a little bit better due to the fact that it can be a store of wealth, easy for coinage, and then it also has big industrial implications uh,
Absolutely.
to,
Can
to
you
us.
Yeah, you absolutely nailed it there. Can you elaborate on kind of the various ways, Dan, that individuals can invest in silver and gold? Like, how can they what are the ways they can invest in silver and gold?
Well, the ways that I do is what I'll speak around from my experience is you can buy the physical metals. You can actually buy gold bars or silver bars. You can buy coins too as well. I'm a bit of what they call a stacker, where I'm a stacker. I'll admit it, and proud to.
Nice.
So we can actually stack that physical metal, and which is great. You have it on hand. The other way that I invest in it is I purchase shares in known silver producers. We've seen Hochschild trades in London is up over, I believe, 20% year to date. We've
Wow.
seen Coeur is, I think, over 63%, 64% return year to date. So you'll get those equities that give you that exposure to the underlying metal as well.
Why do you think it's super important because like we're all silver stackers here. You're a stacker, we're stackers. But why yeah, why is it important to look at, let's say, the producing side or the exploration side? Like what would you tell an investor to that before they even step in, like let's say they're a straight physical stacker, what would you say to the investor before they go into exploration stocks or producing stocks?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I would say is consult a financial advisor. Have them kind of look at what your situation is. You should only be willing to invest what you're prepared to lose. The producers really don't have that risk because they have proven ounces in the ground.
Right.
Traditionally, you'll see somewhere between 20 to an 80% discount of ounces in the ground. So to buy that same ounce as a stacker, which I do,
Hmm.
you'll get 20 to 80% cheaper in a mid cap producer or a senior producer at times. So there's a lot of deep value there,
Is
especially.
that because you're not paying for the premium of the actual coin being minted, or why is it that you can get a way better price for buying the shares of a company than let's say you buying the silver?
Yeah, well, there's transaction risk involved, production risk involved. Okay, well, they've got to get it out of the ground. It's got to go through a PEA, a bankable, all these different scenarios, and
Right.
to put it into a bar,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that makes
So
total sense. So like the process is what costs them compared to you just buying it out of the ground.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, and
Yeah.
and that it goes in order of magnitude when you go down to the explorers. So, there's more risk implied. They haven't blocked off a reserve yet, or they haven't been purchased by a senior yet, or they haven't got a bankable yet on the way to production. So those ounces will have an even greater discount. But as the bull market continues, we're over $30 an ounce for the silver for the first time in 12 years.
Yeah, that's
So
incredible.
big bull market indicator to me. So you see that the higher the risk, the greater the reward. We'll see those explorers snap higher, as that bull market unfolds, right?
Absolutely. And can you kind of like what role do you think that the central banks play in influencing the silver prices, like, and gold prices? Do you think that now, because central banks are buying the most amount of gold and at the fastest rate in history, do you think that affects the price of gold to people around the world, and investors see that and say, okay, if central banks know something that we don't, we like, yeah, how do you think, what role do the central banks play?
Well, whenever gold and central banks come up, Bitcoin is often in that same phrase, and I say, name one central bank that buys cryptocurrencies.
Is there any? No, I
I,
don't
I,
think
think,
so.
I think Ecuador, just because they help with the transacting process, they're not mining; it's actually
Right.
transact. Kind of stolen that word too as well. But central banks are purchasing precious metals at a record pace.
Wow. Yeah, they're not purchasing Bitcoin or they're not
No,
purchasing cryptos. They're purchasing actual gold.
they are, and that has really underpinned the market. It has brought in some relentless buying on a large scale, right?
Yeah.
And when you look at global silver deposits and gold deposits, there really haven't been any big discoveries made in quite some time. So as these unfold, as new discoveries take place, they'll command a higher premium. As the mid caps and the seniors move along, their balance sheets grow because the profit margins have grown. The
Right.
underlying product that they're producing is commanding a much higher price. We'll continue to see great returns in
Yeah.
that space, right?
Do you think, like, Dan, what ways can the technological advancement or shifts in like the consumer spending help gold and silver prices? Well, maybe not so much gold, but silver is used in a lot of applications. As the technology advances and you need more silver, and there's not enough silver mines to producing, pure like the high grade silver, what happens then when the world needs silver and the technology keeps going?
Well, it's supply and demand. The
Right.
price goes up, and we've been seeing that. So, there's been a lot of interesting statistics as of late. Global investment in solar photovoltaics doubled to $80 billion in
Wow.
2023. Huge move, huge. So that's doubling on that number. And China is forecast to be up 170% in silver consumption by 2030.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That number is going to move up from where they are now to up to 273 million ounces of annual consumption
So
of silver.
what is the producing rate right now of silver annually? How many million of ounces? Do you know?
I don't know, but that number's got to grow significantly.
Yeah, because if there's 275 million ounces annually silver that China needs in the future, like I'm sure, yeah, that's crazy.
It is. I believe. I believe we're in a protracted bull market, and silver really has a number of different tailwinds behind it. So you've got this true store of wealth. Then you've also got medical applications. You've got EV applications. Electrification. You've got all of a number
Yeah,
of
there's
different.
so many
Yeah, it's a really good spot.
purification and all that stuff. I think there's so many applications for silver. The common person, I don't think knows about any of it, right?
They don't. We're in a bit of an instant gratification society. Social media has done it to us. Click of a button, everything. That's one of the
Right.
reasons Bitcoin is so popular. But these are monetary currencies that have been around for over 10,000 years, and there's a reason why.
Yeah, because it's a hard ass. It's real. It's real.
Yeah,
Now,
it's
Dan, how did you get started in the precious metals? Like, how long have you been in precious metals? So tell us a little about yourself.
well, I started working at Yorkton Securities when I was 19 years old. I'm 49 now, about to turn 50 in August. And I started working at quite a legendary brokerage firm here in Vancouver that specialized, hyper specialized in exploration stories,
Oh.
which was led by a gentleman by the name of Frank Justra.
Oh, yes. Yeah, Frank. Yeah, I heard of him.
Yeah, so
He's
he's
very popular.
yeah, somewhat of a well-known billionaire, but
Yeah.
I got a job being a messenger for Yorkton Securities when I was 19. And I got stuck in an elevator with $250 million in a briefcase.
What the heck?
The elevator broke down. It shunted, and
No.
I had all of the Diamond Field stock certificates. So Diamond Fields had gone from 10 cents to $174 a share, split 2 for 1, and it went back to that price. So I had
Oh
all
my. They went back to the low?
back up it. So Diamond Fields, I got a tombstone for it, was bought for $4.3 billion by Inco. It was
Right.
one of the largest nickel discoveries in history, and
Wow.
it went from 10 cents to it went from $1 million market cap to a $4.3 billion market cap.
What's the time span?
Call it 2 years, if that.
What the heck?
So, so that's the opportunity that people have now. Robert Friedland and Frank Justra, that's where they made their first big passes, and they're both mining moguls now. I was in an elevator. It was the last day. They'd been escrow for 2 years. They couldn't sell. So
Wow.
I'm in an elevator. I got $250 million in a briefcase, and it broke down. The stock certs had to be there at 5 p.m. It's 3:30 in the afternoon.
No,
I
so you just had an hour and a half.
I phoned the fire department. They winched me out. When they winch you out, the elevator goes, bang on the door. The fire department opened it and
Right.
slid me out. But while I was in that elevator, I got the certs there on time. But while I was in that elevator, I realized that there's no business like this business where you and I, Ivan, could go out, stake a claim, put $100,000 Canadian together, drill a hole in the ground, and we could become billionaires the next day.
Wow.
Now, the odds of that happening are about 1 in a million,
Right.
but they
But
still
they still
exist.
happen. Wow, that's incredible.
Uh,
That is so interesting.
so
Uh,
I often say the business picked me. I was 19. I realized there's not a lot of 19-year-olds that this happens to. And
right.
I've been in the business for 29 years since. So I got bit by the gold bug early. I got bit really good. I got bit
Yeah, I
in an
was gonna
elevator.
say. That's fantastic. Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, Dan, it's such a pleasure having you come down to Wall Street Silver and speaking about the markets and talking about everything and talking a little bit about your history in the precious metals market. Before you go, though, talk a little bit about Juggernaut. What do you do there, and what are your guys' goals there?
Yeah, well, thanks. I'm the president and CEO of Juggernaut Exploration. We're a silver, gold, and copper explorer that trades on the TSX Venture. Basically, we're in a package of rocks that is mapped as one of the top 5 to 10 packages of rocks left on planet Earth underexplored. It's called the Golden Triangle in British Columbia. And the reason that it's underexplored is there's always been snow and ice due to climate change, whether fancied or real. Bedrock is sticking up out of the ground that hasn't ever been seen by the eye of man.
Oh,
Geologists figure it's been covered by snow and ice for about 20,000 years. So there's all these world-class deposits there. Everybody knows it. And we moved in there in 2016 during Weed Mania and picked up key packages of terrain. And we made some world-class discoveries. Goliath is our sister company right next door.
right.
Juggernaut
That's with
Exploration.
Roger. That's with Roger Rossmus, correct?
My good friend Roger.
Yes.
We're fortunate that Juggernaut Exploration is on to 2 excellent discoveries.
Wow.
We've got Prescat Capital as institutional shareholders in the company.
Yeah, Tavi. Good old Tavi.
Yeah, Tabby, Kevin, the chief investment officer, and Quentin, their geologist, probably the 3 best guys in the business.
Yeah, they are fantastic.
Fantastic. So their fund is a large owner of Juggernaut, and we're drilling right now 6,000 meters. So stay tuned. It's going to be an exciting exploration
Yeah, that's
season.
super exciting. Awesome. Well,
Yeah,
Dan, it's such a huge pleasure having you come down to Wall Street Silver. And again, as the market develops, I'd love to have you back on more frequently so that way, you can get you can talk to the silver community and gold community, and they can know you a little bit better.
awesome. I'd love to, and I've got some other great stories to tell too as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we need more stories. Talk to you soon.
Thanks. Have a great day.
You too.